The enemy, very methodical. Enemy that's assigned to your life isn't irrational with their attack. They are paying attention. They are watching. They're waiting for the perfect moment. They lead you quietly without you realizing it if you don't pay attention. I grew up in the church, but I grew up in religion, not relationship. So I did not read my word for myself. I did not have a real relationship with Jesus. If I did, I wouldn't have stepped into or allowed myself to go the direction I went to. It started slow when I was young. I would watch shows like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Charmed, movies like The Craft, Teen Witch, Practical Magic. It desensitizes you. You don't realize watching things, it's like almost its own compromise and agreement, and you just desensitize to it. But I didn't immediately go into doing witchcraft or thinking I was going to do witchcraft. I just compromised by watching it, by consuming it, and it began to introduce it to me. By 19, I dated a guy, and he had books on astral projection, chakra, yoga, and I began to learn about those things because, again, I believed I had known the Lord, and I didn't think these things were against him. A couple years later, I'm dating another person, and their family introduces me to The Secret. So by that time, I'm doing yoga, guided meditations, and meditating, and I was completely open to looking into other beliefs, and I didn't think that I was doing anything wrong. So I began to go deeper. 2016, found myself in this twin flame run, pull, chase thing that was happening, and it was really just demonic delusion on my part, for sure, and the enemy using that to try to destroy me. I went crazy. I was consuming in order to understand what was going on in that dynamic and what was going on. I started watching nothing but tarot readings with birth charts and astrology and moon rise and sun and all this other stuff. I went deep. I erected an ancestral altar. I started looking into African deities. I was just all over the place, thinking with everything I was awakening. Well, I was sitting in front of the altar one day, or kneeling in front of it, and it was almost like I was in prayer, and something said, "Get up." Very, very loving, but authoritative. I did not. And that was like me making a choice. I didn't know Jesus' voice yet. Because I did not, I made a choice. And that choice I chose was the enemy. I immediately began to hear in the spirit. I immediately began to feel almost like they had access to me that they didn't have before. But because I was so delusional and I had been given up to a reprobate mind, and I was opening up doorways, doing all that tarot, and I started doing tarot myself. I bought my own deck. I had watched it so much, I began to be able to tell, what the spirit was going to say. So I got my own. So I went deep. And I remember hearing them mocking me in that moment and being like, look at her, he loves her and look what she's doing. I was so delusional that I was like, oh, I've awakened, and I can hear better in the spirit. I've unlocked a new level of awakening. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I didn't think I was in witchcraft. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a light worker trying to raise the vibration of the planet. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't doing the right thing. It had to take drastic stuff, and so that's what began to happen. I began to be tormented. One day I was being tormented so bad I had pulled the car over, and I had all these protective crystals, and I had burned Palo Santo, and nothing was helping me. I still felt like I'd never really truly felt a panic attack, but the way my heartbeat was, I felt like I was having a heart attack. That's why I just leaned my head back, and I said, God help me, and His peace washed over me. I didn't realize nor know the peace of God ever. But in that moment, my spirit knew it was Jesus. And I was very confused because I had denied him. I had reduced him to an ascended master. But he was real, and he was the only thing that made them scatter. But they were afraid of him. They scattered when he came. They left. All the voices telling me it would be better to unalive myself than to continue, they were gone. Then I had a knowing to look to my left. And there was Mary Magdalene Charter School. So I looked Mary Magdalene up online. And it talked about him delivering her from 7 demons. And That's what it felt like he had just did. He had delivered me from a lot. And I began to seek him. And then, like maybe a week later, I ran across a video and I opened my YouTube. The first video on my feed was from New Age to Jesus. And she had the same story as me. This twin flame journey took her on, this twin flame delusion took her on a spiral of searching for answers, tarot cards, then doing readings herself, and then realizing that she, not only being tormented, but was going against God, and that she had given demons legal right to her life, like I had. I immediately was like, Lord, I didn't know this was bad. I did my research, and I just immediately started throwing away cards, all the decks of cards, ancestral altar I took down. A week later, I threw away crystals, because I just began to seek him. I share this because it shows how enemy will lead you little by little in a direction, and next thing you know, you're deep in it. You're opening up doorways without realizing it. You're coming into agreement and compromising with things that the enemy is using to plant seeds that will sprout later. I didn't deserve for him to come and save me, but he did. And all those things that I was searching for, I needed everything and all these different things to do what he does. I'm not here to condemn anybody that is going to run across this and full of new age and anything else and other practices and things like that, because at the end of the day, when I was deep in that delusion, you couldn't tell me anything. I literally did not process it. But I pray that this reaches the hearts of those that are open to receive the truth, which is Jesus. He's the truth. He's the only one that can heal you, help you, give you the answers, free you, close the doors that some of us open that we don't even know we're opening to the enemy. The answers you are seeking are in Jesus. We can't find, there's no other doorway. He's the only way. Trust me, I've tried them all. And all it did was open up doorways to attacks by the enemy that I had no ability to stop or close in my own power and might. I literally needed him, because the word in Hosea says, my people perish due to the lack of knowledge. I was perishing, and it's not his will for any of his children to perish, for anybody to perish. We just make choices and then wonder how we ended up there and why he didn't stop us, because he gave us free will and we made choices. But if you call on him, he'll come get you. From yourself, from the enemy, from it all. So, I love you guys.